Hi, I'm Glenn Everitt, Master of Machines. This episode is brought to you by Shannon's, insurance for motoring enthusiasts, and Survivor Car Australia magazine. Back in 2015, we teamed up with Ross from Survivor Car magazine to take a look at a hidden gem that had been stored away for nearly 30 years. We couldn't believe what we saw before our very eyes. Covered in years of accumulated dust was an original red pepper XA GT sedan, just waiting there to be rescued. Original trim, 4-speed top loader, original 351 Clevo and all numbers matching. Everywhere we looked, our hearts were racing, with all the signs of an honest machine. Ross and I were doing backflips. This car was the real deal, and they called it Mothball. Neil, the lucky owner,
wanted to unload the car and he wanted a couple of dollars. He was running short of a few bob and he came around and see me and said, would you be interested in buying the car? So I gave him $5,000 for the car. The registration ran out and then I just drove it into the backyard. So there we pushed it into this particular shed and there it has stayed since that day. So back in 1987, for 3 months we drove it around and then from that particular point it has not moved a wheel.
Dave, Neil's best mate.
We didn't know the exact house, address or even name of the original owner at that time. And we spent nights, weeks just walking the streets, knocking on doors to see if anybody owned a Red 72 GT. And we got chased, we got barked at. He said it was a panel beater or a mechanic that lived close to homes where they bought it. And we shopped around all of the panel beaters, finally found one. Oh yes, I know the car, I know the person, and how do you know that? It's my brother. So that's the way we traced it back.
Pat, the very first owner.
Knew the Phase 4 was coming out, I thought, oh, I'll go for that one. It has to be a little bit better than the Phase 3 type of thing. Anyway, I went to the Ford dealership, it was close by, and tried to order one. They told me it was unavailable anymore because of the government crackdown on the high-speed cars and that. So I just settled on the ordinary GT and had a couple of modifications done through the factory. I bought a house. It was a brand new house and had no garage, no landscaping, no nothing. And I had to sell it to build a garage. I'd love to buy it back though.
Well, 3 years has gone by and Mothball is still here in the shed in the very same state. But Neil's had a fantastic opportunity come his way to display this car to the general public at the Shannon Survivor Car and Barn Find Show Spectacular. But there's one problem. How are they going to get this thing out of here? You've got the swimming pool blocking off driveway access. You've got vegetation. All of this was built well after this car was put in their shed. How are they going to get it out? Let's go and find out. Motorfest at Lardner Park is back bigger and better than ever for 2023. Its enormous pavilions and arenas will host some epic car show categories including muscle car megastars featuring factory stock American and Australian muscle, street and show spectacular featuring elite show cars, customs, classics, hot rods, pro street and more. Then there's racing icons of a golden era, survivor cars, special interest, old school Japanese, plus British and European performance and classics. And for those that want to get their cars out and cruise down on the day, a massive Shannon's Show and Shine event will cater for over 3,000 cars inside the venue. We'll also be hosting an official Burnout Masters qualifying event, attracting some of Australia's very best cars and drivers from the pro burnout scene, with some big dance tickets up for grabs to enter the series finale in Canberra. The competition will be fierce. Support events on the pad include Hero Car traditional power skids, drift cars and more. Be sure to visit our Performance Race and Resto Trade Exhibitor Hall and enjoy music and entertainment on the Friday and Saturday nights. There'll be kids' rides and carnival, quality food vendors, a licensed and secured bar area, and camping with full amenities for over 1,000 campers with glamping upgrades available. So lock in the 4th of March 2023 and get your tickets online while they last at motorfest.com.au. So Neil, what's been called the holy grail of Falcon GT barn finds, Mothball, is about to be exhumed from the tomb.
It is. It's going to see the light of day after about 30 odd years. Survivor Car magazine contacted me and asked me whether they could use the car to go on display at a car show for Shannon's over there in Heatherton. So I said, that's not a problem at all, but you have an issue. I said, it's getting the car out of the garage. So Survivor Car Australia came out and asked me whether it'd be all right to take the back of the garage down and the fence and push it out into the backyard of next door and crane it out into the street. Crane it out.
Crane it out?
Yes, yes.
I mean, I suppose all these years ago you never really thought this scenario was going to happen where the car would be blocked in because you weren't using it, you weren't driving it, she went into storage.
Correct. In the infancy, we put the car in here and then we built a pool, but we weren't hemmed in back then because we had access to the neighbouring properties. But over the years that have gone by, they've built extensions, carports. I said, well, maybe the inheritance, the kids would take care of that when the time comes. Okay.
But things changed, didn't they?
They did.
Over the last few years, yourself and Dave,
Yes.
who I believe has sadly passed away now,
Just recently, yes.
did quite a bit of research on this car and uncovered a whole lot of interesting things, didn't you?
Well, we believe very significant things, actually. If you can recall, I think your last show I mentioned to you that somebody mentioned to us that the guards on the car were wider than a normal Falcon. So Dave and I happened to be browsing the web and we came across this memo from Ford. It was a bulletin that was sent out to the dealers indicating that the Phase 4, XA-GT Phase 4, was now in production. And there was a description of the car. Under the heading body indicated that the front and rear fenders, the American term, were to be modified or widened to take the larger wheels. And with that, bells began to ring. You know, Dave and I thought, well, this chap said that the guards look wider. We have this memo. So we went out and measured up a number of XA-GT Falcons and came back with the results that this car here, the front guards are 10 millimetres wider than the normal XAs and 20 millimetres wider at the back, 20 millimetres either side.
Wow.
So we thought...
So
well,
it's like they've been pumped.
Well, either that or they've manufactured that. I don't know how they've gone about that, but that's what we've discovered. So with that, I rang the gentleman, by the way, that signed that particular memo off and asked him about the what was described about the car, and he said whatever is on that memo was happening in the car and it was in production. As it said at the start of the letter, it says, "Dear gentlemen, the Phase 4 is now in production." Not was, not going to be, but now. So I confirmed that with him and he said, yes, whatever's on that memo was the case. And I was surprised when I rang the gentleman he was still about, all due respects, you know. And by the way, we've come across a document from CAMS back in early 72, I think about March, that has give Ford the permission to race their HO if they come up with 200 cars.
Could this have been the same body that was allocated on the line? I mean, they did offload a lot of those Phase 4 components into all sorts of vehicles. You know, things from exhaust systems, even engines. All sorts of parts went into Fairlanes and all types of vehicles to get rid of that inventory that was actually lined up for the project.
But I don't know whether Ford, if a body's been formed and manufactured, would they throw away 200 bodies for the sake of, you know, a few inches on the guards? I mean, it doesn't make the car go any quicker or slower. But moving on with that, we went on with our research and we rung up Bowden's and asked them to measure their car up.
So
the
they've
race
got
car.
an original Phase 4, haven't they? One of the
race
Phase 4s.
cars. And they came back with the same measurements, believe it or not, as the Mothball.
Wow.
There's 200 cars that were going to be manufactured, 200 HOs manufactured, which is, I think, well known. 100 cars at the end of June, the last week of June, and another 100 cars at the last week of July. The date on the steering column is actually when the car was manufactured, and the date on the steering column is the last week of July. So
wow.
All these links in the chain
lining up.
Are lining up. So I'll leave it to other people's conclusion whether this could have been a Phase 4 body, but I can assure you we know the car has come from the factory the way it is today. We've had that confirmation from the owners, the previous owners, and I haven't done anything to it, of course.
So you're not actually claiming that this car is a GT HO Phase 4. What would be awesome if we could get someone that was working on the project back in the day to elaborate on some of this information, this mystery of the Phase 4.
That'd be fantastic.
So this is first port of call for removal, Neil, the back of the shed?
It is, Glenn. They're going to pull the fence down, remove the tree, remove the back of the garage here, have access to the car, pull it out here into the neighbouring property, on the back lawn here. A crane's going to come over, pick up the car and take it over the house onto the street out the front.
So there's a bit of work there. I mean, you're lucky it wasn't actually a brick shed.
Fortunately, yeah. It shouldn't take too much to do, but we're going to get into it now.
Sounds good, mate. Let's do it.
Pull from one side.
Should we have somebody hanging on the back end of it just in case?
So I think a little bit more.
Don't forget about watching the left-hand side of the car.
Yeah, that's where I am.
Good.
A bit. A little bit more. That's it. Okay. Right,
Hold
stop.
there, hold there.
Good roll.
Here we go.
Easy now.
We're going.
All right.
Alan, fantastic to have you here for this momentous occasion. What a magnificent spectacle this machine is.
When we get it all tidied up, it'll be a real runner, that's for sure. A V8 engine that can't go wrong, and when everybody else gets it back home and throws the tires and the wheels away and puts the things that are in today's vocabulary, someone's going to be a very happy owner.
Now, it's not often you see a scenario like this and been stored away and entombed for all this time, 30 plus years. Must bring back a lot of memories for someone like yourself with that Ford history.
I'd be very happy to see how everything turns out with this car when it's revitalized.
Pat, as the original owner of this car, the man that ordered it brand new, how amazing is this to see this car out in the daylight after all these years?
I'd never expected to see it again, but the way it turned out, they looking for me. Eventually they found me, and yeah, we exchanged some facts and figures. Yeah.
I mean, most people buy a car, they drive it for a while, they on-sell it, like you say, never see it again. But to see something like this entombed and all those memories that you have of this car, it's pretty epic, isn't it?
Very, very epic. I still can't believe it. I mean,
it's surreal, isn't it?
I wouldn't have had it that way. So I still had it, but the way it is, yeah.
And the boys did unturn some amazing information. The car is a bit of a mystery. I know that you did order a Phase 4. That was the plan.
Right. Yeah.
And then obviously they chopped it and said
sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I settled on the GT and with a few of the little bits on it.
What's the strap doesn't pull on the actual car.
You'll be alright.
You're right, keep going.
Yeah, you'll be alright.
Yeah, you'll make it.
Yeah.
What's the front of
We're going to do anyone hit, are we?
No, we should be okay.
Watch your door. Watch your door, Neil.
Yeah, it's pretty room here.
Get it as straight as you can.
I can leave it there.
Beautiful.
So yeah.
Excellent. Now the concrete will stop it anyway.
Over this way.
Just a little bit to the left, Alan.
Bit to your right. Right door. Close the door. Close the door. Close the door. Close the door. Slot it up.
Have you get no brakes?
Yeah.
We've got one behind.
We've got one behind. Oh. Happy there? All right, good.
Neil, how's it feel to see your baby leaving home?
Well, Logan, I'm beginning to pinch myself now. The reality's here, and it's come out of that shed after 30 odd years. And I was just saying to Ross that it's become a bit of a tearjerker now. You know, as I said, the reality's set in now, and I'm looking forward for the rest of the ride. Yeah. Okay, up it goes. You ready? Here we go. I think it's been waiting in good time, and rightly so that we're going to do the right thing by it, and get it going.
It's in the right hands, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, in my hands it is. Yeah. And also don't forget this thing's been hemmed in. You know, it would have been there forever and a day. As I
Most
said,
people
as I said,
probably wouldn't be able to get a crane in like this and do that. The car would be stuck there.
Yeah. It wasn't going to be a concern for me because it would have been the kids' problem, okay, as it would have become a part of their
inheritance.
Well,
hopefully you won't have to worry about that for a while.
No. So again,
you look fit and dangerous.
I've got to be very thankful to Survivor magazine coming along and asked me could they use the car to go into that Shannon show amongst all the other Survivor cars. As I said, it wouldn't be sitting here now if it wasn't for them.
Yep.
And, much appreciated.
Good bunch of guys.
Yeah,
like yourself.
No.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
Come on.